Hey there, I'm Heather Hakes. Welcome to my channel. This channel is designed to help you live the life you dream about. But before we dive into today's video, I invite you to check out my free video training on how to reprogram your subconscious mind. Again, visit my website, heatherhakes.com, and opt into my free video training. You can also click on the link below in the description box. Be sure you're subscribed to my channel so you're the first to know when new videos drop. And I want to know, where are you watching from? Comment below. All right, let's get to it. Let's dive into today's video. Welcome to today's interview. I brought on Carrie Brightwell. Carrie, welcome.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone.
This has been such a great pre-call. I'm excited to dive in. But before we get started, please give listeners a little background. Where do you live and what do you do?
So I am currently on the island of Koh Phangan in Thailand, and I have two streams, or two hats, if you like. I support people with their online business, their online training businesses. I help them convert all of their training and coaching programs into online programs. And then the other side of me is I am the founder of Bright Wellbeing, and I am a coach, I am a teacher, I am a healer, and I am a mandala artist.
And what I love is it doesn't even blow my mind anymore, but I feel like guests that come on as though we've lived very parallel lives. And so if you could go back, give us a little more background on, you know, how you were going through life, doing the corporate thing until kind of your wake up call and this entire new path.
Yeah. I mean, it's a gradual thing. Sometimes it can be a big smack in the face for people. Sometimes it can be a gradual one, right? And when I look back in hindsight, mine was gradual, but I was ignoring it. And it's all down to the feelings that I was experiencing at the time. I had a very well-paid job. I'd had many years in corporate learning and development. I was always senior management, and I was the most miserable I've ever been at that point. So much frustration and anger at everyone and everything in my life, not knowing where it was coming from, not knowing the source of all of this. Just a lot of misery, a lot of frustration, a lot of resentment for people, for things, for situations. And it didn't matter what I seemed to do, I could never seem to make myself happy. And it got to a point where one day I was sat on the edge of the bed and I was crying, putting my shoes on to go to work, wondering how on earth I was going to get to the end of the day, making a strategy and a plan to get me through my working day. And it was then that I knew something drastic had to change. So me and my then partner decided to travel, and still wasn't happy. Even though I was traveling all of Australasia, 15 different countries in 14 months.
You know what I want to say about that, because I experienced that too. And I remember back in high school, I had cut out of a magazine, wherever you go, there you are.
Wow. Yeah.
So we think we can run from our problems. We think traveling will, but it's like you said, didn't you go on 16 months of travel? And you're like, yeah, I'm still not happy.
Yeah, I mean, come on, look at the life experience I was having. You know, I'd saved all this money. Budget wasn't an issue for us, but I was still so incredibly unhappy and so angry. And it wasn't until the last kick in the face, you know, those bathroom floor moments where you can't do anything but cry on the bathroom floor. You can't move, you can just about breathe, you can't talk to anyone. It was one of those, and I realized that I'm not listening to myself. I've known all along that I need to do this alone, and that the unhappiness is stemming from me not listening to what I've known for all this time. And the feelings, the emotions, the anger, the frustration, the pity, everything that I've mentioned, it was my soul talking to me saying, you're taking the wrong path. Get out. And what happens is, when you don't listen to your soul will create chaos in your life. And it's through this chaos that you start to create cracks, and it's through these cracks that your soul can speak to you. So it's those bathroom floor moments, or it's those moments of I was going to swear then, where you're just like, oh, bugger it, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that anymore. It's those moments that through this chaos, the soul is able to go, you've got no choice but to listen to me now, and I'm telling you, you're taking the wrong path. And it was then that I knew that I had no choice but to go alone and take a completely different path.
So here's how I've heard it said another way, that the soul speaks to us, our intuition, our internal guidance, by a feather. It starts with a feather. And then if you're not paying attention, then you get a brick. And if you're still not paying attention, you're going to get hit by a Mack truck.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. It's creating cracks in your existence so that you have no choice, as I said, but to listen and to see and to feel the signs. And when we say listen, but really how your soul speaks to you is through experience, through feeling, is through the emotions. And if there's something, and I always say this to people, to my clients, follow the feeling, right? If there's something that is frustrating you, if you're not happy in a situation, if you're living life and everything is just so dull or miserable, or you're just so apathetic, like you can't be bothered to do anything, it's a sign.
Yeah.
And it's the same the other way. If you're curious about something, if you get fired up about something, or you've got this urge, or there's been something that's niggling you that you wanted to try, but you never did try, or there's something about that person, I really want to talk to them, follow that feeling too, because that's a sign of the path that you should be going on. And there is no shoulds, right? Yeah, but yeah, you know what I mean.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so question for you, because I feel like a lot of people have numbed out their emotions and feelings. So, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex, shopping, figure out your vice, scrolling on social media. If we're so numbed out from feeling, and we are telling people you have to feel the feels to move on, how do you do that?
Yeah, so there are, well, how many distraction techniques are there? Even going out with friends is a distraction technique. You go out so that you don't have to sit and be with your emotions. You don't have to sit and feel the feelings. So that's actually a really good question. If you're numbing out anyway, then how do you sit with the feeling, or how do you notice this? I would say look for the repeated patterns of potentially unhealthy behavior. And it might be that you don't necessarily see it straight away. That maybe it's a comment that someone has made, or maybe it's something that, you're like, oh, I really should go to the gym, or I really shouldn't have spent that 45 minutes scrolling through Facebook, but I did. Or I really should maybe cut out a little bit of caffeine, maybe go down to 2 cups a day rather than having that 4. So you deep down, what it is, what your distraction techniques are.
Or kind of like our self-saboteurs. This made me think something that came to mind, because I like to share real world experiences. So for me, my experience was I was always busy 7 days a week with work, with extracurriculars. I was so afraid to be alone in my own thoughts, but I also love writing. So it just kind of finally, the urge just got louder and louder to start journaling. And so for me, that was kind of a brain dump to get these out. And then it's so funny how this works, right? So I used to be social butterfly, on the go 7 days a week, always busy, to now I almost I don't want to say I have social anxiety, but I just don't even have a desire to go and be in crowds and bars. And I have so much contentment being at home by myself.
Yeah, same. But I also get the urge to, so every now and again, I'll be like, oh, I need company. Oh, I really want to go out, because I gain energy through doing these things as well, so I go in fits and starts. But being comfortable with yourself, that in itself is a journey to go on, right? Learning how to be comfortable. And you did exactly what I'm talking about. You followed an urge. That's one of the signs, like, do this because there's something here for you. And through the act of journaling, what you managed to do was connect to a part of yourself that you hadn't connected to before.
Mm.
Because through journaling, this is a way that we actually start to speak to, if you like, our higher selves, our intuition, or our guides, you know, however you want to call it. And it's a way that they speak back to you. They speak through your writing. Don't know if you can hear the gecko going off there. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what living in Thailand does for you.
Okay, so question. Let's go back to, you did the 16 months of travel, realized I need to do this on my own. So can you share some of that experience and kind of this, if you want to call it an awakening or this new chapter? What was that like for you?
Scary, really scary.
Yeah.
So we got back to my home country, which was the UK, and the plan was, his plan was marriage, house, go back into work, you know, start thinking about getting the family. And oh my God, my body just really constricted when I thought about doing these things, because I'd expanded so much on this journey. Even though I was still angry and I was frustrated and everything, my eyes had been opened. And I knew that there was something alternative for me. I could see how, in order to live where we wanted to live, we both had to earn a minimum of £30,000. Don't know what that is in American dollars, but we had to earn a minimum of that each. And in order for me to earn that, I had to sell my soul. As far as I was concerned, I had to sign that contract. I had to go into an office every day and go against the very thing that I had promised myself that I would not do, which was to sell my soul away again through a contract, through an employment.
Yeah.
And there's a story about that. So to me, to go down that path, I couldn't do it. And I'd spent 16 months in nature. And to be then asked to go back into this urban environment, again, it was just literally making my body tense up. And I couldn't do it. So we decided to part our ways. And I was the most fearful I've ever been, because I didn't know what was in store. That was the thing. I didn't know what was in front of me. But the thought and the fear of not knowing was not as bad as the thought and the fear of knowing what my life could be like, because I couldn't go back to those original feelings. So I just had to, like what you were saying, take that leap of faith. And then I never looked back.
Well, and ultimately, I'd love to know more about your experience. But for me, you're right. I don't live in stability. There are still a lot of unknowns.
Yeah.
But I have had to step into trust and faith that the next move, the next income, the next whatever is always shown to me.
Yeah.
And same as you, it's like there are times when it's like, man, it'd be so much easier just to go back to a 9 to 5 and maybe I could do this as a side hustle. But my soul was like, that was literally death to my soul. And so no. Okay. So now how long have you been on your current journey?
So I originally left for traveling in 2016. We went back early 2018, and then I left again 2018. So
Okay. Oh, so about 4 years.
Yeah.
So the last 4 years, you just keep following the nudges. You now are working for yourself. Can you share more about the yoga background and what you want to teach about energy healing?
Yeah. So whilst I was on my travels, I'd come across a yoga school that really, again, follow the feeling, that really sang to me, because it taught more of the quantum physics and the science behind not only the yogic practices, but also understanding the mind, the psychology, the physiology, and the energetic body all as one whole system. And that really was attractive to me, because I'm a scientist at heart, and I love to have any kind of backing behind anything that I learn from a mystical or a magical perspective, because quantum physics is only just proving what the mystical and the sages and everyone has known for millennia, right?
Yes.
So that's why it sang to me. And so when I split with my partner, I made a promise to myself that that's what I was going to do. I was going to go and do this yoga teacher training. And again, I'd had this little voice going, oh, you need to do yoga, you need to do yoga, you need to do yoga. Never done it. So this was an immersion. And really what it was for me, it was not an attempt, it was my stake in the ground to say, I'm disconnecting from the matrix, I'm disconnecting from everything that has been my life that's been a lie, that I have not actually enjoyed. I'm cutting it off, I'm disconnecting, and I'm moving forward. So yeah, first of all, I did 500 hours of this yoga teacher training, and then ended up doing it again because it was just so phenomenal, and you just cannot absorb all that type of information in one go. So yeah, I did that, and then ended up teaching yoga for a bit. But then my path just took me into other directions and other healing modalities. And now I follow more of a shamanic path. I still incorporate a lot of the yoga knowledge and a lot of the yoga practice, because when you really understand the yoga is, I mean, when I say yoga, what do you think about?
Well, for me, it's that mind-body connection, it's movement with breath.
Yeah. That is a small portion of what yoga is, you know. We have 7 main chakras that people will be aware about. There's, you know, many others. And the movement aspect, the asana, this is hatha yoga, and hatha yoga is the yoga that is associated to Muladhara, which is the first chakra, and the breath is pranayama, which is breathing techniques, and this is the yoga which is associated to Manipura, which is your third chakra. But we also have forms of yoga that connect us to Svadhisthana, the second chakra, that connect us to Anahata, that connect us to Vishuddha, that connect us to Ajna, and that connect us to, I can never say it, Sahasrara the 7th chakra, the crown chakra. And so there are all of these other forms of yoga that we can practice and do on a daily basis that is so far beyond the traditional asana that people will think about. So I do still practice a lot of yoga, but not in the getting on the mat traditional sense.
Okay.
Yeah. But now I go down more of a shamanic route, working with lots of different healing modalities. And as you were saying, one of the ones that I work with predominantly is working with mandalas, so sacred geometry, which actually is yantra yoga, which is the yoga associated to Vishuddha. And the element associated to Vishuddha is ether, electromagnetism. And that's what sacred geometry and mandalas are, electromagnetism. And I help people understand how mandalas, how sacred geometry heals the mind, how it heals the body, and how that creates doorways or potentials to futures that you want. So you can become empowered and you can take control how to heal yourself using shapes, sacred geometry.
And is that some of the scientific side of it?
There is a lot of science behind how shapes, how mandalas heal. A lot of the work has been done behind sound. Have you heard of cymatics, I think is the word, or cymatics? It's where you you'll have like a plate with sand laid on the top, and then the plate is then put on top of a speaker, and then they play frequencies. It might be a tune, or it might just be a frequency that comes through the speaker. And what happens is this frequency creates a vibration, and this then vibrates the plate, and then the sand will disperse and create all these pretty patterns, these pretty pictures. That's one physical demonstration of how frequency affects the environment around us. Now, just like sound, tunes, notes, just like they emit a frequency, which is demonstrated through what I've just said, so do colors. Colors create and emit a frequency of vibration, and so do shapes. They emit a frequency. And when you, just like you would create a song, you put lots of tunes or lots of notes together to create a melody. With shapes, you put lots of different shapes together to create a mandala. And then what all of these shapes together do is they create a resonance or a melody, if you like. So one shape will create a frequency, a vibration, put lots together, and you have a resonance. And it's this resonance that we work with through the mandalas, which, again, I can talk about the science, but this literally changes the very chemistry within your brain, which then will dictate and tell your body how to behave. And it will tell your mind how to behave. And when we do that, we literally change the cellular makeup. We heal ourselves down to a DNA level, which then changes how our cells replicate, which then changes how we experience our future.
I love this stuff, but I have a question. Since we're talking about energy and frequency and vibes, what I understand at a very simplistic level, that quantum physics states that we are energy living in an energetic universe, so that our thoughts and our feelings emit a vibe, a frequency, and that we attract back that same experience. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So since you're talking about energy and body and yoga at a whole nother level, I think for me, because something you shared with me is that we are the creator of our life. And I 100% believe that.
Yes.
Based on the energy we're emitting. So can I ask you, because something we talked about before recording is, and again, please, you describe this better, but anytime we're struggling in life. So if we're struggling in our financials, if we're having that lack and scarcity, not enoughness, if we're struggling to, I never use the word lose, but release weight because we're stuffing our face. If we're struggling to find an ideal relationship, you're sharing that it's trapped energy, it's trapped emotion, trapped experiences that we need to acknowledge and release to create space for that ideal reality.
Yeah. First of all, what I will say is, because of my understanding of how the world operates and my experience of how the world operates through my personal experiences, the majority of the time, a lot of it will be what's inside, but there can be external influences as well. But then you attract those external influences. So I'm talking about going deep down a shamanic path here. So we're talking about, spells and curses and demons and blah, 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 all of that stuff. I've seen it all. I've seen and experienced it all. But when we're talking about on a personal level, what happens is, this is what I was explaining to you, as pure awareness, which we are. You can call it pure awareness, you can call it universal life force, you can call it God, you can call it whatever you choose, but ultimately it is pure awareness. As pure awareness, we have three things that we do here. We create, we experience that creation, and then once we've experienced it, we discreate it. So we create this energy, we experience the energy, and then once the energy is dissipated, once it's done its job, it's free to leave us. And that's how we discreate. And the energy comes in through the inhale, it goes into the body, it does a loop in the brain through the corpus callosum, and then it will release through the exhale. Not quite so quickly, but that's ultimately how it works. Now, when we create this experience, if our ego says to us, I don't like this experience, I think it's negative, or I think it's unpleasant, I'm going to stop this experience, I don't want it. Then what happens is we go through the process of suppression. So we stop this energy in motion, this emotion, we stop it in its tracks. And as you know, energy, it doesn't just disappear. Where does it go? Well, if you're going to stop it mid-tracks, it's got to go somewhere. So what we do is we suppress it. We push it down into the body. We suppress it into the subconscious, and we suppress it into the physical body. And in the physical body, what happens is this energy then forms protein crystals, which crystallize into the DNA. And then your DNA is then programmed to ask or tell your cells to replicate with this stuck emotion in it. So your body is literally then replicating with this stagnant energy, and that's what causes disease and conditions and illness and everything that we experience. And as I was saying to you, the pains in the body, if you've got stiffness, if you've got areas that hurt, what it is it's crystallized emotion. And there is actually a healing modality that I work with that can actually release this trapped emotion, that can melt the crystals and release the emotion. But we suppress this, and therefore what happens is all of this suppressed emotion, this trapped energy, this will then start to dictate your future, because this energy is meant to be experienced. It's saying, hello, hello, remember that fear that you didn't want to experience? Well, that's me, and we need to be experienced. So then what happens is this is going, I'm trying to be experienced. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an experience so that you will try and experience me again. So it literally dictates your future. Now, this happens on an unconscious level.
Yeah.
But if you're conscious of this, if you are aware and you're like, okay, I need to let these emotions go so that I am the creator of my future. I dictate what future I'm going to experience, not this trapped trauma or this trapped emotion. Then what we do is we welcome every experience that we have with full enthusiasm. So when this fear says, hello, you're meant to experience me, you say, okay, I fully and enthusiastically experience fear. And you sit with that fear. And then eventually that fear, as I said, it will be released from the body, released from the DNA. It will go up to the brain. It will go to the corpus callosum. It will do the loop around the corpus callosum. And there's like a twist in this organ. So the energy does the loop. It twists, and as it twists, it cancels itself out, and then the energy is gone from your body. And then you create space. And as I was saying to you earlier, from this space, what is in space? Nothing. And when you have nothing, what can you create?
Anything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And this is where quantum physics talks about future potentials. You know, there's infinite amount of future potentials in the quantum field, infinite amount of any futures that you could ever possibly imagine and more. They exist, and they are fighting for, literally competing for your attention, because every single one of those future potentials wants to become your reality. And if you are unconsciously allowing all of this trapped emotion to decide which future comes to you, then you are not consciously creating your future. You are unconsciously allowing these past experiences to create your future. So what we need to do is we need to recognize and allow these emotions to come up, fully experience them, let them go, and then say, this is the future that I want to experience. Therefore, I will pick that one and I will create it.
Okay, Carrie, I feel like you just dropped so many bombs and like really, really important stuff. So if somebody is new to this, I would like to just share how I would summarize everything you just shared, because seriously,
Yeah,
this is important, but I've been immersed in it for years. And so it's just so good to hear it in another voice.
I understand. Yeah.
But what I heard from you, as an example, we've heard the phrase, whatever you resist persists.
Yeah, exactly.
So if there is a point when you're struggling and you keep experiencing the same kind of relationship, that is your sign that, oh, okay, something needs to be felt and released so I can experience that relationship I actually want. Or,
Yes.
but think about it this way, right? We are so conditioned and programmed to get a pill, to seek externally, to band-aid the symptom.
Yeah.
And I also know that any chronic disease, any constant pain in your body, digestive issues, now everybody has food allergies. That's not normal. That's not who we are. And so what you're saying is to acknowledge it, to become aware, to feel the feelings, let them release. And then you've created this space literally inside of you to attract these new desires you actually want.
Yeah. Yeah. Every condition will start with a thought, an emotion.
Yeah.
And it's these trapped emotions that will create the physical condition, whatever it may be. It starts as a thought.
Yeah. Well, I think, there are so many modalities. That's where a lot of people talk about EFT, emotional freedom technique, tapping, releasing. But I mean, literally, people can go out and Google, how do I release emotions? But can you please share, now that you are immersed in this and you are teaching this, and this is what you're doing, now that you've done the work, continue to do the work, how has
doing the work.
How how has your reality shifted? And now what is this new chapter that you're creating?
I'm going to be completely transparent, because I think it's important for people to hear this. When my spiritual journey really took off, I'd made a very strong choice, and that choice obviously went out to the universe. And I decided I'm committed to my spiritual path no matter what. And from that moment onwards, my life turned into so much turmoil, so much turmoil. I do laugh with my mentor, my shaman that I work with. I laugh and I say, since I met you, my life has just been shit. But we laugh about it. And it's not because things have got worse. It's because I'm now seeing what was operating my life unconsciously.
Yeah.
And as you become more aware, you then have to take, well, you don't have to, but you have the wonderful opportunity to take responsibility for what you do about what was dictating and controlling your life. So it's no longer operating unconsciously, and you're just like plodding through life thinking you're happy, drinking that bottle of wine or going out and doing those drugs with your friend at the weekend or whatever, like you say, shopping, it doesn't matter what it is. You think you're happy. And then when you become aware, when you start to wake up and you see, oh, that's the plan. Oh, that's who was doing that. Oh, that's why I've been feeling like this. Everything comes up to the surface to be seen, so that you have the opportunity to say, no, no more. I cleanse, I purge, I clear it out. I'm doing my shadow work. I'm doing my inner work. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But in order to do that, it's like, I like literally liking it to vomiting. Now, you can either keep breathing and keep that, whatever it is, down in your stomach and just keep breathing through the pain and the feeling sick, or you can just relax, release, and then just let it come up. But the coming up bit's not so nice, right?
Yeah.
But it's got to happen. And then once it's out, and you feel fantastic. And that's literally what my life has been like these last couple of years, It's got to come out. The shit's got to come out. Otherwise, I'm never going to feel great. But it's a responsibility. It's a beautiful opportunity to decide how you respond in life. And that's what responsibility means. Yeah. Responsibility means choosing how you respond to something. Now, I can choose to allow these forces, to allow these organizations, to allow these emotions to continue to dictate my future, or I can choose to take back my power and to take control and do what is necessary in order to create the future that I want. I forgot what your original question was. I'm sorry.
Yeah. The thought that just came to me, doing this work and understanding your old programming that was running your life on autopilot.
Yeah.
Our conditioning, especially in America, that you go to college, get a degree, climb the corporate ladder, retire, die. That. Yeah. So a lot of people have that. But now that you're doing the work, I'm curious, I would imagine that your desires have completely changed because you're not chasing the societal norms.
I am not. And funnily enough, I literally just put a post on Facebook yesterday. One of those time things came up, and it was a picture of me and my mum like 6 years ago. And I literally wrote, oh, look at this. This was back in the day where I used hair appliances and I wore shoes and I did my makeup. Now I don't even know where my shoes are. And I can just about find my hairbrush. Yeah, because priorities change. And I'm not saying I walk around shoeless, because I don't. What I'm saying is I get to choose now where I put my energy. I get to choose what's important for me, rather than being sucked into the mainstream media and being told how to live my life and being told what's important for me, being told what expectations I should have. Because I have awareness now, I choose what is important to me. I choose where I put my energy. I choose what I spend my time on. I haven't turned on a TV since I left in 2016, since I left the UK in 2016. And that was pivotal for me in being able to make my own decisions. So my desires have changed hugely. And when you also understand what it is that really powers your life, and what it is, or your actions and what you can do in order to gain the experience that you really want, then that becomes your priority.
So are you saying the desires for a big home or multiple homes or traveling the world, that all of that falls away, or that it just...
Absolutely not. No,
Okay.
You can choose what you want.
Okay.
And I choose to explore the world. I choose to experience cultures. I choose to have a home that's big enough for me and what I want to do. I've never been into multiple bedroom homes or stairs. I don't understand the point of stairs. Why travel up the stairs when you can have everything on one level? But I get to choose what I want. And that's not just, and we're here on this earth for exactly that, to have whatever we want. So whatever you desire, it doesn't matter. You can have it. It's not to say you can't have hair appliances, or you can't have homes, or you can't have nice cars. If that's what floats your boat, go and get it. What I'm saying is, I realized that those things won't really make me happy. Maybe I want one and I'll have one, but it's not really going to touch here in my heart. So what's going to touch in my heart, So yeah, no, the desires don't go away. Of course they don't, but you get to choose them.
Okay. I feel like we seriously only touched on the tip of the iceberg of a conversation that we could literally have for hours. So what I want to ask you, what do you feel is a key takeaway you want listeners to get?
That I want the listeners to get, that you absolutely are the creator of every experience that you have. That can be quite a big thing to swallow for some people. Yeah, but I've got this health condition. There's no way that I would ask for this health condition. No, me neither. I have a health condition and I didn't ask for it, but I did create it, because I created it with the emotions that I trapped inside my body. Why? Because my soul decided that, and I made this soul contract, that in this lifetime, this was something that I was going to work on, because this was a lesson that I wanted to learn. So you are the creator of every beautiful experience that you have. And you're also the creator of every frustrating experience that you have. But it is an absolute pure joy to be able to take the responsibility, choose how you respond to those experiences that you are having. And then you can choose how you want your future to be, because you are the creator. You are a miraculous creator. And if you think, yeah, but my life is a pile of pants and there's no way I've created this, there's no way I'd create that. Well, you're a fantastic creator. Look at this incredible pile of poo that you've just created.
Yeah.
If you can create that, think of what you can create on the positive side.
Yeah.
And that literally was a download for me one day. I literally saw all of the complex disaster and emotional turmoil that I'd created in my life. But because I was able to see that, because I was able to take responsibility for it, it was like, oh my God, I am genius. Look at all this. Right, now I'm going to start doing the work that's going to turn that to that.
Well, and I think the important thing there, I always talk about, number one, awareness. You have to become aware of who you've been being, how you've been thinking. But then to release the seriousness and the heavy feelings that this might create this is supposed to be our playground. We're supposed to be having fun. How can you dance and more joy and create whatever freaking amazing experience you want?
You've touched on something there, Heather. We live, what is real? Nothing is real, right? Everything is imagination. When you talk again, when you're looking at it from a quantum physics perspective, we live in a hologram. This is all just an illusion, right? We live in an illusion. And what holds this illusion together is the seriousness that we place upon everything. So the things that you keep more serious in your life are the things that you will never change. It's like glue. Seriousness is the hardened glue. You have to warm it up with fun. You have to warm it up with the understanding that everything is an illusion. And once it's warm, you can manipulate it. You can change it into anything you want. So if your health is really important to you, or not important, sorry, if you're making your health condition really serious and everything around it really serious, then you'll never change your health condition. If you're making your lack of abundance or your relationship status really serious, then you'll never change it. relax. Like you said, what you resist persists.
Yeah.
Relax, have fun. That's what we're here to do. And when you remove the seriousness, when you bring fun into everything and the understanding that we are here playing a game, then you'll know that you can change everything.
Yes, that I love. And that would be a great note to end on, but I do have a couple rapid fire questions I'd love to ask you first.
Sure.
First one being, what is a quote or motto that you live by?
Follow the feeling.
I love
And
that.
the other one is be now what you wish to become, and be now what you already are. This is really important because everybody says, oh, when I do this, or when I become that, or I wish I was this. You are anything that you've ever wanted to be and more. And some people say, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self or your 13-year-old self or whatever? And when I look back and with what I know now, it literally is, you are capable of so much more than you've ever given yourself credit for or dreamed about. Because we literally, everything that you think you want to become, you are that already if you allow yourself.
You speak my language. You actually answered my second question. So I guess the final question I would ask you is there a book you're currently reading or highly recommend?
I'm reading at the moment some books around frequencies because obviously with my work with mandalas, so I'm just learning about the love frequency a lot more. In terms of books that I would recommend, when I was at the beginning of my spiritual journey, I really loved Conversations with God.
Neil Donald Walsh.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Because I had so many questions that, I don't understand how all this stuff works. What are you talking about? Universe and spirit and angel and soul. What is all this stuff? And it answered so many questions for me that it was like, oh yeah, well, now it makes sense. So I really feel that that is really a great book for anyone who does have initial questions, or even just as a great reminder. The other book that I really, well, there's two others. One of them is called The Happiness Advantage by Sean Aker. And what he does is he looks at the studies of positive psychology, and he simplifies and paraphrases the 7 principles around how you can make yourself happy. And why do we want to make ourselves happy? Because when we are happy, we maximize our productivity in every single area of our life. We maximize our potential in every single area of our life. Our brains are literally hardwired to work better when we are happy. And this is not to say that then you can go to work and you can work longer hours or you can do a better job. No. When you are happy, you literally see more potential in life. So I'm talking about us being the creators of our lives, right? If you're unhappy, if you're depressed, you won't see this potential. You won't be able to dream big for yourself. Yeah. And you cannot manifest that which you cannot visualize. The key thing to manifestation is being able to see it with your mind's eye, being able to dream about it. And you can't dream if you're not happy. So for me, understanding what you can do, the practical things that you can do in your life in order to make yourself happy, opens the doors to the life that you want. So I love this book because he summarizes them in such a fantastic way.
I think you were going to mention one more book.
It's called The Nature Fix. Oh gosh, totally forgotten the author of that. Maybe if you've got show notes, we can add it into the show notes. But to me, nature is the way that I connect back to myself. It's the way I connect to our entire universe. When was the last time you were in nature, Heather?
Oh, I'm drawn to it. I mean, every day I take my dog on walks and.
Yeah. And why do you go to nature?
It's calming. It's peaceful. Yes. It just feels so good.
Yes. We go to nature because of the way that it makes us feel. And there again, there's so much science behind proving how nature again, makes us happy. And nature changes and adapts our psychology and our physiology to make us be able to connect to ourselves and be able to maximize our potential in life. Because nature is the only place where we fully engage all five senses, and therefore nature is the only place where we feel fully alive. And when we are able to connect not only to ourselves, but to something that is bigger than us. And what this book does is it describes the science behind how nature impacts our psychology and our physiology in order to give us that positivity boost that we need.
Oh, that's really cool. I'll definitely check those out. Carrie, thank you so much for joining me. I'd love to have you back if that's something you'd ever love to do, but thank you for this conversation.
Definitely. It's been an absolute pleasure. Any questions? I'm always here.
Thanks for watching today's video. I want to know, what was your biggest takeaway? Comment below and let me know. If you liked this video and it resonated, give me a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed to my channel so you're the first to know when new videos drop. I'll catch you on the next video.